Hello everybody, welcome to another single roundup. We're going to be going over the best singles of the week. I might be delayed uploading this one, so I apologise, but let's just go straight into it. So, Origami Angel dropped back to live, a brand new song. Been looking forward to some new Origami Angel, as I really enjoyed their album last year, Feeling Not Found, which might not be everyone's cup of tea compared to the debut, but if anything, I think it holds up really nicely. Now, this single isn't really anything too different from that. It sounds well polished, it's got some great ideas, it's just pretty much got more prominent focus on its mixing, and I feel like it's actually one of the cleanest cuts we've had from the band. It's just a cute standard song, nothing crazy, nothing insane, but I think for an Origami Angel song, it's another good one, so that's all I have to say about that one. Biffy Clyro has released their third single from the upcoming record Futique, coming out on the 19th of September. Titled True Believer. This one is kind of a mixture of the more poppy mainstream appeal sound while also giving something a little, might feel a bit more inclined for a Biffy fan, a bit more in the hard rock sound, but not really much in the same vein. It's kind of like a mixture of A Little Love with the more mainstream sound and Hunting Season for that hard rock. But if I'm going to be honest, I just feel like it's probably the weakest of the three singles. It's not very memorable, even after numerous listens. I don't really click with it, to be honest, as much as I want to. It sounds fine, honestly. It's not a bad song. The build up with the guitars is kind of a nice touch towards the end, but it's just not really that great for a track either. I feel like the first two singles are good, but even then, there's still a lot better Biffy Clyro stuff in the discography. Certainly not as hyped for this album as I was with Myth of Happily Ever After, but, you know, still going to be interesting, I suppose, but yeah, it's okay. We got a new one by the brand new band President with Destroy Me. President being, I've never talked about him on the channel, but President is this pretty much band that exploded from the Download Festival, mainly due to the marketing. They played In the Name of the Father, which this song got a lot of attention, and all their other songs just picked up quality as well. So this is another anonymous masked band playing with kind of metal elements with a lot of the pop sound, pretty much like, not in the same vein as Sleep Token, but they are doing kind of a similar idea in terms of it, how they're going to blend the pop and the hard rock stuff together, and that's pretty much President. Most people think it's Charlie Simpson from Fight Star and Busted, which, if I'm going to be completely honest, it does sound like it, and I don't think they can even deny it at this point. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off topic. I just want to explain about President. Destroy Me, brand new single. President hasn't really been my cup of tea per se. I feel like the first single was fine, and the next two were just not good. Fearless was a pretty rough single with the Fearless chant, which was really annoying, and it definitely brought the song down. And the Rage song is just so bland, in my opinion. But Destroy Me is probably the strongest of the singles we've had for this upcoming EP. This is coming out pretty soon, so keep an eye out for it. King of Terrors. If you're interested, that is. I personally think this song is just kind of by the numbers, basic and kind of standard for President. Luckily, it's not too annoying, but the thing that really brings us down is I don't like how much auto-tune we get with the lead singer here. It is just so over the top, it's just so obnoxious, and it just really is one of the most overdone auto-tune sounds I could hear. Why would you have it for the entire clean bit? Like, I know Vessel from Sleep Token uses auto-tune in points, but you can still hear his natural voice as well. It's just kind of an enhancement. Here it just feels like it's to try and keep the band as anonymous as possible, but we know it's Charlie Simpson, so it's not really working. The build up to the heavy point of this record, the uncleans, the kind of breakdown this one has, sounds quite nice. I will give Destroy Me that. I just wish there was a bit more kind of a better structure of this. It kind of feels like you get the soft part, then it just goes into this breakdown and doesn't really know how to end, so it just ends on whatever it does. It's okay. Honestly, there could be a lot worse. Yeah, let's get into a different song now. I've talked about this one for about over a minute and a half. 2 minutes probably. NewDad, Everything I Wanted. It's a good single. I just kind of prefer the Madra sound, but I am also really enjoying some of these as well. The last single I talked about, I thought was okay. I think it was pretty, but this one actually is a lot better. I know they're not really going for the kind of darker sound of Margarine, they're kind of going for a more upbeat, happier tone, and to be honest, I think as long as they keep the dream factor and they still keep the core sound to NewDad, there's no problem with that, and I think they do another good idea with this. Still not on the same level as something like Rubosh, but I'm definitely digging a lot of these singles, and I think Alter, which comes out really soon, I think it's the 19th of September, the second record, I think it could be a really good follow-up album as well, so yeah, I like this one. Got a collab with Poppy, Courtney LaPlante, and Amy Lee, so pretty much 3 female vocalists, or if you want to be precise, you got 2 Poppies and the Evanescence singer. Honestly, I really enjoyed the vocals on this one. Poppy and Poppy had some good uncleans, but Amy Lee, honestly, with her soft vocals, especially at the start, is the highlight. It carries the song, some of the best Amy Lee sounded in a while, and I'm not even that big on Evanescence, but yeah, it sounds pretty good. The instrumental is a bit beige and basic, but I appreciate the song as a whole, as I still think it has got some good ideas to it. I just wish the instrumental was a bit more interesting. But yeah, it's good. Between the Buried and Me, the Blue Nowhere, it's fine. It's just a slower melody, and it feels like Between the Buried and Me, but with its proggy sound, I just wish there was a bit more to it. It just doesn't really go for some of the most exciting work, and especially following the fact they've had Colours and Colours 2, 2 amazing records they've done. The Blue Nowhere kind of feels like, so far with the 3 singles we had, a bit of a mixed bag, but I mean, I'm still looking forward to the album. It comes out 12th of September, and it could be good, but I think, frankly, this is probably one of the weakest songs they've done, but I feel if they took the best ideas of this track into another song, I would be happy to see it. Many Eyes, the clock behind all other clocks. I have been quite mixed on this band. They've had some great songs I like Future Proof, but at the same time, I feel like they've also had a lot of mixed stuff, to be honest. The Light Age was a very meh album in the whole execution of it, but I'm appreciating this new EP, I think it's called Combust, coming out soon. This is pretty much just a 4-track thing, and I feel like they're experimenting to try and find a defined sound that people can prefer. And honestly, I do kind of prefer the sound. Now, lyrically, I think it's a bit silly with the "I use sunglasses to stare into the void" line. I just find it a bit silly and just kind of, it doesn't really have much meaning to it. It's just saying something that could have had more meaning, just in a silly way, I suppose. But other than the weak lyrics, I actually like this one. I think it's a better sound, it's heavy, and it does kind of remind me of Every Time I Die. So I'll give them that, it's actually good. Dream Drop, Anfinset, which this is the first track of the second EP of the Black Castle parts. I'm assuming they might add these all together as an album, I'm not sure, but Black Castle Part 1, I thought was good. There was some good singles there, but I wasn't really that invested in that much of it. I just felt like it wasn't as strong as Acne Superstar record, which I really liked, but I never got to talk about it on the channel. And this, honestly, is probably the best single they've released so far when it comes to the Black Castle stuff. So I'm all for it. I think it's got some great melodies, some great harmonies, some good aggression. I think this one is just generally a well-constructed track. Orbit Culture, we have Nerve. I think production could be stronger on this one, and I haven't really been that invested with the singles. And I don't think this one does anything different. I think it's just okay, to be honest. That's all I can say about it. All Time Low. Oh no, I was thinking that with the title track and the fact that All Time Low dropped the worst album of 2023 for me, which was Tell Me I'm Alive. I felt this was one of the worst albums I've ever heard in my life. It's just a big fat zero. It's just, there's nothing I enjoy about it whatsoever, and yet they're managing to make it some sort of comeback. Not saying it's good, definitely not good, but in terms of what they have done previously, they've set the bar so low that anything can be better in comparison. And I will be honest, I actually think this is fine. It's surpassable, it just sounds like them, it's nothing, that crazy good. I just think it's a decent listen, one that I can tolerate a lot more than what the last album gave us. Also, why the hell is the album art them cosplaying as the Wiggles? I really don't understand that. We got Sprint's new record, Sprint's new track, Better, and to be honest, this is the worst title you could ever give one of the tracks. Better? Really? this is the worst song I've ever heard from Sprint, and you're calling it better. That doesn't really work in my opinion. I just find this to be very boring and just have probably one of the most bland instrumentations. There's almost not really much ideas into the structure of this track, and I just think the refrains and the verses don't really give anything. This is definitely a big step down for Sprint, in my opinion. The Veer Union, caught into Crossfire. This one's great. I love some of the songs from the last record as well. Welcome to Dystopia, I think it's called. But yeah, this one's really good, really fun, and probably one of the bands that could do the generic mainstream hard rock sound quite well in a way that I want to see more of it. I love the writing, I love the uncleans, it's great. Softcult, 1625, this is a soft grunge gaze band that honestly is really underrated and definitely giving grunge gaze a good name, and I feel like we've got a lot of good stuff in that regard as well. I mean, we talked about NewDad, which isn't necessarily grunge gaze as it is just more shoegaze dream pops, indie, but I feel like when it comes to the shoegazy stuff this week, they're doing a really good job. Softcult, they've had some good stuff, haven't been that big on them, but this track just sounds really good in what they're doing. Alter Bridge, Silent Divide, didn't really care for this one. It's nothing original, it just feels like a lot of Alter Bridge songs we've heard before, and probably some of the weaker stuff combined into it. I just didn't care for it. Acres, Welcome to the Family. Gonna be honest, this release cycle is much worse than Starset's release cycle. But unlike Starset's, the material is really, really bland and weak this time around. They dropped the album with 7 tracks, or even 5 tracks, and then they added it to 7. Now they're adding 3 more. They've just basically been releasing every track and calling it an album whenever they had enough, and then they'll release some more for it. What the hell's been going on with this? Now, Landon Chewers has produced this record, but that wouldn't really save it from the fact that the uncleans sound pretty awful on this. The lispy sound from the mixing and the production just really is annoying, and the instrumentals are just so basic on this one. It is generally not a good step for this new Acres album. I'm not looking forward to it. The Cards I Play, The Writing on the Wall, very underrated band. Check it out if you haven't. This song in particular is amazing. I loved it. It's underrated alternative new metal. All I really have to say. I will review this album as well, probably for the albums of the month list. I'll probably get time to talk about it more, but I'm looking forward to that. Dead, Purpose, Be Myself, it's decent. I think they're just standard kind of hard rock, metalcore-esque band. Don't really have much of an opinion on it. I've listened to Dead before, and the last album I listened to was decent, and I feel like that's just kind of it. They've always been the decent listen for me. And finally we have Excide, Worth Your Salt. Good metalcore banger, catchy, and got some good riffs. Exide's been good. I've really enjoyed their stuff since they joined Sharptone. And nothing I'd really go out my way to absolutely jam to, but it's a nice listen, and I think it's still good. So I haven't talked about a track of the week because there's not a single that's been a track of the week. Instead, it's been a track off a record. I've decided the best song this week I've listened to is Green Street from the new Fleshwater album. So that is my track of the week. It's honestly a really fun song. I like this one. It was Jerome Town for a while, but I decided on Green Street because I feel like this one just kind of plays more into really much the classic Fleshwater sound of the debut, and while some of the other songs play with this more kind of nostalgic noughties sound, I kind of prefer the rougher sound we have here. I wish the album played a bit more into it, but at the same time, they want to do something different, and I respect that. It's definitely a grow of an album. I feel like this is one that will grow on a lot of people, but as of now, album's good. This is definitely the highlight. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video.